Hello and welcome to FishUSA here in beautiful downtown Erie, Pennsylvania. I'm Steve Wascher, your host today, and we're going to talk about fly tying tools. But before we start talking about tools, there's one thing that I'd like to touch on real quick. After tying for many, many years, the one thing that I noticed is that your hand care is kind of quintessential when it comes to tying. So basically, this is one of my best friends at the tying bench. I like to keep my fingernails trimmed short. And also, I remove any little shards of cuticle from my fingertips, because what will happen is that'll catch on some lighter threads, it'll fray them, it'll snag, and it'll goof you right up. Another thing that is really essential, at least personally, is I like a good hand lotion. This is great stuff. It's super waxy. It keeps my hands moisturized, especially in the winter months. And it just works really well for me. There again, you could use any type of hand ointment that works for you. So the very first thing I want to touch base on today are one of the most important pieces of your tying equipment, and those are your scissors. And there are a variety of different types of scissors out there on the market today. I'm using today a pair of Wapsi scissors, which are available here at FishUSA. These are a straight cut. They have a very fine point. I don't know if we can pick that up on camera. A very fine point. They're not used for really, really heavy material, but if you're a trout fisherman, these are a perfect scissor. Also, I use a variety of curved shanked scissors, especially when I'm sculpting deer hair. But when purchasing scissors, always buy the best that you can afford. Something else that I like to talk about when it comes to scissors is, as a tyer, and this may be somewhat cumbersome, as a tyer, the scissors should never leave the hand. This was kind of like teaching an old dog a new trick about 20 years ago. But, for example, you're going to see me for the rest of this video holding these scissors in my hand, because what that does is it alleviates the set down, pick up, where did I put my scissors, your tying tables, if it's like mine, has a ton of stuff all over it, oh, where did I put those scissors? It's handy, it's convenient, and it's one less tool you have to pick up and set down every time you want to trim. And we use our scissors a lot, let's face it. So the next item we're going to talk about are bobbins. This is one of your most important pieces as well. Now if you get a new bobbin, you're going to notice that the spring is pretty tight here. And you want to be extremely careful because, and you're going to hear me say this saying many, many times, you're going to hear me say that tension is your friend. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and this is not tying thread, this is a 20-pound test monofilament, it's just hot red and it'll show up easier on camera. So what you're going to do is you're going to slip your bobbin in there, like so, or your thread, like so. Now the one thing you really have to be careful of when you're loading your bobbin is, you don't want to take this part of the bobbin, the other side, and drag it across your thread. It's going to screw up your thread. So you want to splay that. Now, right out of the box, this bobbin has relatively good thread tension. All right? But if in fact it doesn't, what you're going to want to do is very carefully and one step at a time, you're going to want to take another bobbin, or take a bobbin, and you're going to want to splay these apart down here at the end. Just a little bit, just to loosen up that spring action. Just a little bit. Then you're going to reinsert your thread and you're going to try it again. You do not want, you want that bobbin to be able to hang freely like this. If it's loose and it comes down, you're going to have to retighten it, and you'll just do the reverse method by pinching these together. Now, there are a variety of great bobbins on the market. We here at FishUSA sell several. We sell the Wapsi, we sell the Umpqua. All are great bobbins. But pick a bobbin or bobbins that meet your needs. The other thing that goes along with a bobbin is a bobbin threader. There again, I'm using a wire bobbin threader. If you don't have one of these, you can utilize a piece of heavy monofilament, just crimp the end of it and slide it down through. So basically what you're going to do is slide it from the top down. You're going to take and insert your thread into the loop, pull out about 4 or 5 inches, and then pull it forward like so. comes through, because this is heavy stuff, it didn't come through so happily, but there you go. All right, you're gonna want to have one of these very handy. Something else that works very good are gum dental floss threaders. They're blue. They're very nice and very handy. The other tool that you're going to want to utilize, and we're going to talk about this in a separate video, is your whip finish tool. We're going to be doing another video on knots, but we'll discuss that later. Another unique tool is your bodkin or your dubbing needle. This has a little protective end on it right now, which you can take off. This has a multitude of uses, from clearing the eye of your hook from cement to plucking out fibers. The other beauty of this is, on the back side of this, there's a little hole. We utilize this as a half hitch tool, and there again, I'll be discussing that in videos to follow. My next tool is a pair of tweezers. Now these are specially developed for fly tying. Many of us use brass or tungsten beads, and I don't know if we can see this or not, but on the inside there's a little round crevasse that is used to pick up and hold your beads while you thread them on your hook. Also, it has multi-purpose, and it can be used just for picking up most anything. So, one of the last pieces of equipment that we utilize, and put my scissors back in my hand, are your hackle pliers. They have a multitude of use other than just hackle. It can be used to hold material. These are spring-loaded, and there again, there are a great many different pairs of hackle pliers out on the market today. We carry several different brands here at FishUSA. Very unique. Now the last item that I'm going to talk about here today is the Hackle Gauge. This is this little gizmo right here. So I have a Magnum saddle hackle here by Metz. Beautiful orange. I particularly picked the orange because it will show better on camera. So when you're tying flies and you're tying a certain size, you don't want to come in and say, geez, that hackle looks good, and pluck it off the neck. Then you're going to end up with 25 different feathers on your bench, and there's waste involved. So basically what you do is, and this attaches to the stem of your vise. Now this is kind of awkward because I had to turn it for the camera, but what you're going to do is say, okay, let's say you're tying a size 4 woolly bugger, or a whatever dry fly, a woolly bugger, whatever. You select a hackle that you think is ballparkish. Then you take and there's half circles, quarter circles right here, and they tell you the hook size. You take the hackle right at the midpoint or the sweet spot, and you bend it around. Now, the tips of these hackles will come to the circle. Now this says a size 6. Well, I wasn't too far off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move up the neck, because the saddle neck, runs from smallest to largest as we go to the top. So I'm just going to move up the neck just a tiny bit, select another hackle, and gauge it. So here we go. Slide it around there, and voila, I've got a size 6. The tips are telling me a size 6. Then, when I go to utilize this hackle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to the base of the skin, and I'm going to pluck. Oops, excuse me. You don't want to come in and grab the tip and pull it. Or you can follow the stem down to the base and cut it with your scissors. Either or works just fine. I hope I've helped you somewhat in this video. Oh, the last little piece I have is one we started with, your nail clippers. If you can go to the dollar store, get a 99-cent pair of these are great for cutting wire, lead wire, whatever. They're inexpensive and they work great, and you're not utilizing your scissors. Folks, I hope this video has helped some of you in your basic tying skills. For FishUSA, I'm Steve Wascher. Hope to see you on the water. Good tying and good fishing. God bless.